Today, I'm going to be, hopefully very quickly, be unboxing a whole bunch of random Final Fantasy VII merch, starting with the so-called mapping cloud stuff, and some acrylic logos, a couple of Bright Arts Gallery Cactuars, a Pixelight of Cloud, a pretty rare bomb mascot phone strap, a Rebirth concert light Buster Sword, and a Remake silicone ice tray of a Buster Sword as well. Let's just start with this napping cloud stuff. This is not something that I normally go for, at least not on release. This came out very recently, but there was just something about, having a cloud sitting on an in-game bench next to the in-game vending machine. This is the stuff that I miss from the figures that I buy, like Cloud doing something that he actually does in-game. This is not Cloud looking cool and posing with his sword over his shoulder, Let's start with the mug. Oh, nice. You're not really expecting much with a mug, but that's actually some pretty nice printing right there. And the black color isn't actually black. It's kind of like a very dark reddish brown, so it has kind of like a style. I'm assuming a lot of people are going to be drinking coffee out of this, and to have the color be almost coffee colored is a really nice touch. I'm not going to drink from this. I might keep it in the box. I might just display it like this and maybe put something else in it. And this Buster Sword on the other side with some nice Japanese writing. And also break time. The finger pointing, that's nice. I wasn't really expecting much, but I'm very pleasantly surprised by this. Next up, this acrylic stand thing. How does this work? You just snap it out like that. It's a shame that we're not getting the Buster Sword with the actual display, but I love this. I love the vending machine. Oh, I probably don't need to be too careful because it is pretty thick, actually. It's not thin at all. So we're gonna put the vending machine back here. You do get the grass with it, that's nice. Ah, that sound is nasty though. Ah, it's like stepping on like really, really, really cold snow or something. Eesh. I can feel it in my teeth, what the heck? That sound. Nice. I think what makes this cool is the depth that you're getting by having two things like that. This is like perfect for my background because it doesn't really matter that my background is 3D because it may as well just be a picture since I'm not actually interacting with anything, So that's pretty cool. You can just keep that there. And I'm sorry, but I don't have any way to display this keychain right now, so I'm just gonna keep it like this. I think you get the idea. It's the same as that, only a tiny bit smaller, right? Next, and now for some acrylic logos. Some really, 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 really thick acrylic logos. Let's just start with the OG. And they're really, really thick. So I guess they're pretty solid though. That's nice. And Rebirth, obviously. There isn't one for Remake, unfortunately. There's only original, Rebirth, and a bunch of stuff from the compilation. The colors on the Rebirth logo is pretty cool. I do love the red in there. And there you go. Pretty cool. And as some of you guys know, I'm not the biggest fan of the compilation. So you're like, why would you be collecting logos from the compilation? And I'm like, well, technically I'm not. There's no Crisis Core here. There's no Advent Children. There's no Dirge of Cerberus. But I did get the G-Bike one. I think this is going to look great next to my Hardy Daytonas. That's pretty cool. I do love how shiny they are. And as I said, I'm not a fan of Crisis Core, but although we can all agree that it's not canon and it fucks up with a lot of things, there's so much to love about Last Order that if they were to release a figure from Last Order, they won't, but if they were to, I would buy it and proudly put it in my collection. Because yes, it's not canon, but in my opinion, every single game has its own canon, because they portray the same events, the same places, the same characters, the same, like, things that should stay the same are portrayed differently from game to movie to mobile game to, so nothing's canon in my opinion. If you haven't seen Last Order, I recommend finding it, but find it in Japanese. The English dub is fan-made. That's the sack that I like. The really, really confident sack that isn't all like, shut up! I'm warning you! Those are not the wings of a monster. They're angel's wings. I'm like, shut the f*** up, dude. Alright, there we go. Last order. And last but not least, I haven't played Ever Crisis at all. I have watched a few scenes, like the CGI scenes from that look amazing. It's not like super important, it's just cool. However, the Ever Crisis story with Sephiroth is tied to Remake somehow. And if they ever were to release a figure of young Sephiroth from Ever Crisis, I would buy it and I would keep it in my collection. And that's kind of the excuse I had for including this logo in this little lot. But this is the last one. They are smaller than you'd think when you see them in pictures and stuff. They are, you know, pretty small. But the images of the logos are high quality. If it doesn't say Final Fantasy VII specifically on the box, I need to make up some sort of excuse to explain why I'm getting it from my Final Fantasy VII collection. This is literally the same figure as the Cactuar from Final Fantasy VII Remake, with a different paint job. Just wait until I have to start explaining why I'm getting the Gigantuar. Alright, here they are. Two little treasures. One of my favorite things with collecting these metal figures is how heavy they are. Heavy and cold every time you touch them. I'm gonna try not to smudge them too much. Keep them nice and shiny. There you go. They're super shiny, I love it. Look how the light bounces off of them. Look at that. That's amazing. Oh, I love this stuff so much. Wow, that's amazing. You know the Gigantuar that's coming out? I think it's like this big compared to these ones. I'll be placing these right next to the original Cactuar with the Tonberry, so you'll see a comparison of those at the end. Next, they recently announced a Sephiroth like this, and I do forget what game this is technically from, because I think Cloud does look like this in a game. Like, I feel like I've seen this before. This isn't completely made up for this product, I don't think. So, let's get this thing out. It does look like the Sephiroth one has a plug back here so you can charge it or something, but this one only runs on batteries. And 3 AAA batteries. Okay, so here's the thing. When I recorded the unboxing for this, I put some batteries in it and it barely worked. You could barely tell that there was light in this thing, and I was super disappointed, and I talked about how disappointed I was in this thing and blah 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 blah. But then later, when it stopped working, I was kind of like, wait a minute. I tried some different batteries and it works just fine. Like, it's really good, actually. So, I'm gonna skip adding all the footage that I have of me talking about how disappointed I am, and I'm just gonna include this, alright? It works just fine. Like, I can light up Cait Sith here, as you can see. It works perfectly fine. Yeah. Next. Now this, as far as I know, is pretty rare. And again, some of you, or maybe none of you, who knows, are going to be saying that, wait a minute, I thought you were collecting Final Fantasy VII stuff, but that's clearly a Final Fantasy VIII Chocobo, and for those of you who are a bit too fanatic like me, that's a Final Fantasy VIII Tonberry as well. And an easy way to tell that this Tonberry is not at least from Final Fantasy VII is that he's holding the knife in his right hand. All Final Fantasy VII Tonberries, at least from OG and Remake, they hold the knife in their left hand. So these two are both from Final Fantasy VIII. However, this bomb right here is undeniably from Final Fantasy VII and does not look like the Final Fantasy VIII bomb at all. You see this dark spot in his forehead? In Final Fantasy VIII, it's light, and the fire on top isn't spiky like this. It looks more like a fire. And as you can see, the figure is based on this image very clearly. So, this is one of those rare finds, a brand new, old Final Fantasy VII figure. And it's an enemy that I love the design of, so I jumped on it. I bought it immediately. So, enough talk. Let's get this thing out. Oh, whoops. That tape just gave up. Wow. Look at that. It's tiny, but it's beautiful. It does look like, you know, it's been bouncing around in here so much that we've lost a bit of paint. Luckily, it's not in the face at all. It's mostly just on these spikes right here, but I don't mind. This is beautiful. The more obscure something is, the more special it is to me in my collection. This is my first ever bomb figure. I'll have to figure out a way to display this in my collection, but I think I'll be okay. I don't know for sure, but I think these were specifically only sold at an actual Rebirth concert. And I tried to look on YouTube to see if anyone in the audience was using these lights, but I was unable to find it. Let's get this thing out. It is a lot smaller than you'd think. But it does look really cool though. And the most fun part about this is that this is an official Square Enix Buster Sword that is actually made to be held in a human hand. And I guess that makes it pretty unique because as far as I know, there are no officially licensed Buster Swords meant to be held in your hand. And the weight actually has me pretty worried because I've had this for a long time and I was just waiting for the opportunity to make a video with it, but it feels like there's already batteries in there. So I'm gonna probably have to open this up and see later on what condition those batteries are in. But let's see if I can turn this thing on. Hey, it does work. Look. Oh, there's different combinations. There you go. Now you can see. Okay, I'm gonna count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 12 different light combinations. That is freaking cool, dude. Let's see if it remembers where we were. If you turn it off and then you turn it back on again. No, okay, it resets. Cool. This is freaking amazing, dude. I love this. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. All right, next. Sadly, I'm gonna have to end on a bit of a whimper because I've decided not to open this because I don't see a point in opening this. If I ever do open this, it's gonna be to actually use it, and I want to keep it as dust-free as possible until then, for obvious reasons. However, now it's finally time to place everything in my collection, so why don't you come along? Let's do that. I think I'm gonna need some time to figure out better places to place all of this. I decided to keep the mug in the box because I didn't have anything creative to put in it. The keychain is back there. The ice tray is hidden back here. The napping cloud that I did take out is right here with my books and VHSs and games and soundtracks and stuff like that. I also decided to put all the acrylic logos right here. I did want to put them like scattered around and maybe have the G-Bike logo with the actual bikes, but it just didn't look good. You can barely see it and it just looks messy, right? So it's better just to keep them all together right here. Here's the Buster Sword with the lights in it. And it's also kind of funny seeing how small this Buster Sword is and how big this potion is. I think a lot of people have probably seen images of this thing and assume that it's like half this size. You assume this thing is twice as big and you assume this thing is twice as small. At least that's what I did, but it's fun to see them together. And this potion thing also fits pretty well next to the napping Cloud stuff because Cloud literally has a potion right next to his feet there, so that's pretty fun. And here we have the random enemy section of my collection. This is a section that I never expected to be filled to the brim like this because it's so rare for them to actually release random enemies like this. But I really love how the Cactuars look together, and the bomb really just makes this area pop with that splash of red right there. I love it. But looking at this, I'm gonna have to move this section sometime soon because I literally cannot fit any more right here.